Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. We had a bit of a technical difficulty a few minutes back, but hey, we are here and we are ready to lay out this zine. I think I actually forgot to introduce myself. I'm Izzy, brand designer from Ottawa, Canada. And I was just so excited because we are at the halfway mark with this zine creation right now. And we are about to lay out. You will understand with this episode, like why it took so long to build all the assets to get to what we will be doing today. And you'll see you can download the templates and there's a lot of gifts that are in it for you. I was so excited for this episode. So please stay tuned until the end because we will have a big getaway. So we have a lot today. I usually give a zine per episode, but today I'm giving this zine here, which is the last year edition of the Ottawa Design Club. Loving the holographic with lots of inspiration inside. I also actually went ahead and got the CJ Creative Juice zine printed also, so you can have your very own copy of that. And if you want, you can also have it as a nice poster. So you can get this. And I also made some stickers. Few stickers, which we will be doing actually at the next episode in November. So lots of stuff today to win. So make sure that you stay until the very end. All right. So what's a zine? If you're new here, well, a zine is a self-published small circulation. You can actually make it about whatever you want. You can read this in the presentation. The link is in the description of this show. You can also do a deep dive if you want. This is a small description of the project. Again, this is our 4th episode. So by now, you know that we're building the zine. And last time we actually came up with this full line of characters. So we have Moo here, who is milk, likes to milk opportunities. We have Jay with the tall juice box, who is looking at things from a different perspective. We have Cups, who is coffee and likes to keep the energy going. And we have CJ, which is our main character, and that's the creative juice. So lemonade, squeezing the lemon to make the best out of everything. You can see the personalities right here. So we spent a lot of time building the library. So I'm going to hop right away into Illustrator. I'm just going to show you like a quick overview of everything that we have built. Yes, there was a bit of work in the background, but essentially this is what we have now. Last time we also looked at the templates. So I have given you some files to download, which if I go back quickly to the presentation, you can also download. Oh yeah, we did the branding too. I forgot to mention that. We did so much. You can also download the templates right here. So you have an 8.5 by 11 or a 17.5. 17.5 will give you this size here of the one that is like printed, and a 8.5 by 11 will give you a smaller version. So this is like the version that you can print at home without going to the printer. And we'll look at both options today if you want to go to the printer. So here is our template. So if you go into your layers, you will see that there are some guides here that are locked. And this is, you want to leave them there for now. So that's good. You want to be working on the add your artwork here. Now, before you start laying out, you do need to have a story. So the storyline was actually already made up before because you're still working towards a concept, right? It's all part of that creation. And I have copy pasted everything that I want to lay out right here. Now here, this is in order for when you fold everything. So I'm going to start, and you'll see again, like why doing this is just working so efficiently. So the first the title page here, we want to talk about, we'll just say like the title and show our main character. So I'm going to go here. We have the logo for the series, and I will just copy paste everything here. And here is our main character. I'm gonna bring this here. And because I know that I will be working with my color palette a lot, and I like to have something to use the eyedropper, I will copy paste my color palette, which is this here. Just have it on the side. I always like to work like this. That's why, like, outside my artworks, like everything gets super, super messy. So before I get started to get really into it, because I'll get into my own little zine world here, I just want to acknowledge the chat. So hi, Monica. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Misty. Hi, Clever Devlin. Hey, Jack. So good to see you here. Hi, George. Kristen. So good to see all of you. And thank you so much for the nice comments. And yes, George, I think Jack mentioned that you can download on page 13 of the presentation. So are you going to show us how to fold the template? This is a question from Heather on YouTube. Yes, I will. And also, if you check, I have put a reel today on my Instagram, both my accounts, to show you how to fold everything and how to cut everything properly. But we're skipping ahead a little bit. So, all right. So here on the home page, I just want to make sure that it's the right size. And obviously here, I'm kind of working in a 90-degree view all the time. So I'm going to show you a really cool trick, but it does do a little bit of mind trick. So if you go at the very bottom here, it's really, really, maybe I should like up my window just a little bit. Oops, not this one, this one. Right here. You can actually rotate your view. So if I wanted to have a 90-degree view, I can do this, and now I can actually work, oops, into the proper view. So if I do minus 90, then I will be in the correct view for this here. Now I could just select everything, hold my shift key and rotate like this. Usually it does the trick, but sometimes if you're working too quickly, I also like to go into the properties panel. I'm going to undo this and go here. And as you can see, there is a angle here that you can put, and I will put minus 90. Oops, it was not a minus, it was a 90-degree for that one. So it does take a little bit of playing around. There you go. We got it. And just because I'm going to be laying stuff over this, I will go and just shut down the view option for the guide right here. It is under, so you can keep it there and work on top. Okay. So this was one. I'm going to add this here. Now the lines here are looking just a tad thick. And this is a decision. I want to make sure that all my strokes are the same. So I'm going to do 1.5 for everything here. Perfect. It's here. Then I do have a title, which is Adobe Live, a creative quest. So essentially the full story of this mini zine is that our little juice crew or liquid crew, however you want to call it, they are in need of inspiration. So they need to go to Adobe Live in order to get some fresh ideas. So this, another thing that I can do from the assets, because we have some text that is already laid out, so we can bring that over and again use the eyedropper for that as well. So that's it. Once you have all of those decisions, it's really easy to make it work fast. And specifically if this is a personal project, as this is for me, you want to be able to do it quickly, because when you're working all the time and then you're adding work, even for your own pleasure, it can become a lot. And you know what? This series here does not work for me. So I'm just going to remove it. And it works as both. So that's perfect. I did see a question. Can you also make this in InDesign or better in Illustrator? I'm not sure I understand your question, Misty. So if you want to elaborate on that, that would be lovely. Okay, this is looking good. Because I know what I want to have at the back. And again, if I go to my layers panel and put the eye so I can see what this is. So this is the back of the zine. And I already know that I want to have the logo of this series, because this is going to be my CTA or call to action, if you want, to watch this series of episodes. And I'm going to tell you how I'm going to use this zine as a way to make an impression. So I'm actually going to a few design conferences in the next few weeks and days, actually. And doing this will definitely make me stand out. It gives something to interact with, not only by flipping pages, but also having the QR code that leads to my website. It's a good way to make a connection with the people who I'm going to be gifting this to. So I'm always looking for opportunities to just show my talent, because if you don't advocate for yourself, your own talent, sometimes, well, I mean, no one else is going to discover you. So you need to make some noise. And I know sometimes it is daunting. Trust me. I find it so daunting sometimes. Like, Instagram is hard and I don't necessarily always want to do it, but you have to. So I'm just going to bring this in the back. And this feels a tad too dark because it's the same color as the side panel of our lovely CJ here. So I'm just going to make this tad lighter, like that. Did it do something? Let's do it. There you go. And because I want to add just a bit more depth, I want to create a shadow. So I'm going to do something very simple with the ellipse tool, just like that. And this needs to be a little darker. I'm gonna bring this at the front. And there you go. So now we have the front and the back of our zine. Just going to lock that so I can easily adjust. And I actually want that to be that pink, so it has that brightness. Okay, so Misty, when designing the zine, looks like you're currently using Illustrator, or am I mistaken? Yes, this one I'm actually using Illustrator because it is not like the typical like printing like order that I would usually put. I'm actually working on another zine at the moment that we just approved our final files. I was going to show you a sneak peek at the end, but that would be in InDesign. You're absolutely right. But whenever it's like printing something special, sometimes it's just easier to make it in Illustrator because you have a lot of flexibility. Like this. Just because with this, I need to show the printer where to cut because you need to cut that slit in the middle for it to fold properly. And there's also some score lines. So then score lines will help the paper to bend properly without breaking. So that's why here the score lines, they're on top. So technically you don't want to see them, but this is a guide for the printer to, like, you are telling them where to fold, essentially. I'm gonna do this. This looks a little too dark, so I'm just gonna lighten that a bit. And then if we go to the story, I guess I should bring it here now. The first page, it says the zine crew are designing their mini zine page. CJ, we need design inspiration. Moo, what about Adobe Live? So CJ needs to look a little down because she doesn't know what to do. So I do have a character here of CJ who is unhappy. And if we go back, there was a full episode that we created a lot of expressions here. So it's good to have that again. So then if you do need to have a different expression on your character, that you can easily piece it together if you didn't do it ahead of time. Again, creative assets at its best. Loving organization. So we have CJ here. I'm working right now in the 8.5 by 11 template. It's actually a little snug compared to the 11 by 17 template. But we can always make it work. Thank you so much, Heather. I love your characters. Thank you. I love them too. Having worked on them for a little bit now, I feel like they're part of my family. Is that crazy to say? And now we want to have Moo, who's like, hey, what about Adobe Live? So it's like she has an idea. Oh, see here, I didn't press shift properly. There you go. We'll place that better. I don't like when the characters are overlapping because you truly want to see their expression, because they don't have a lot to go by with their expression, right? Like it's a very simple mascot design if you want. So you need to allow them to breathe so we can read them. Like if we do this, then we can't necessarily see even this. And it's crazy how arms and sometimes just like how the mouth is placed can do an entire difference on how you read a character's expression. So I have some speech bubbles that are already ready. I made sure to have some that were from both sides, so then it's giving me the flexibility of putting them whenever I want quickly. So I bring them here. So essentially, at this point, it is mostly a copy-paste game because you have thought about the whole project in an efficient way. And trust me, my personal projects aren't always like this. Sometimes it's a complete mess. Even my client project sometimes is a complete mess, and that is definitely okay. All right. And here I'll go and fetch what our characters are saying. And I want to make sure that whatever is in the bubble isn't the same as the rest of the copy of the zine. So I'm gonna use the same font, which is Newting. Which you can also find in the document if you're curious to purchase it. I like there you go, the bold, and I want to make sure that it's in caps, so it's there, and I want it black. That's gonna pop with the bubbles. And I also like to copy directly and not do a text box, because then I have a lot of flexibility with my text. Whereas if I do a text box, then whenever I'm resizing it, it's different. And I can show you what I mean by this if you've never ventured that way. If I do a text box and I add my text, it's gonna, okay, I need to, there you go. The text is going to stay the same size. It's the box that is going to change. But here, if I paste directly, then it's actually the like font itself that is going to get bigger. I want to make it smaller to fit right here. So this is the tricky part. Because you're in a 90% view at the bottom here, right? Whenever you want to use the align tool, you need to think as if you're also viewing it from the 90 like the 90 degrees. Did I say 90%? I meant 90 degrees. I'm so sorry. View. So I can show you what I mean here. I want to make sure that this is centered with my bubble. Usually when I'm at 0%, I would use this, but this is not going to work because it's like from the 0 axis, right? So I need to do it with this one here, which is the vertical. So it's a little bit of a mind game if you want for this, but once you start using that feature, it's really cool, and you get used to it after a few times. You just need to adjust your brain a little bit, but hey, like I say to all my friends sometimes that are facing challenge, you can do hard things. Oh, thank you so much, Monica, for saying that. Monica saying, I love your thought process. Well, I do like things that are very complete. So I don't like to just have an idea that is not flourished fully, because to me, it's presenting some inconsistencies. And to be honest, it stresses me out. I don't have a lot of free time for myself. I work a lot because I'm building my empire. But it's good to know where you're going, so that way, like, you know, like that your time won't be wasted. At the same time, it's good to allow yourself sometimes to explore and have those moments of just serendipity that you don't know. So it's a good balance. But whenever it's for work, and specifically if I have a scope that I need to follow, I like to have a process like this. So obviously for this episode, I have a scope. So it's like, it's easier for me to do this. At the same time, if you go back to the first episode of this series, I had no idea what was going to happen for the characters. And I used Adobe Firefly to get inspiration. I wanted to let the prompt and see what I would get if it would inspire me. And funny enough, from seeing characters, because I wanted to have like humans at first, and that was just not computing for me. So then I'm like, I'm really into mascots and they're very in right now. So what about just having like bringing something to life? And then I thought about, I think I said to someone, I need to have some creative juice, and that's where everything hit. An expression. So having those like conversations again, or just like having that break can lead you to great success. Okay, so here we need design inspiration. What about Adobe Live? I actually want this to be a bit like that. Maybe I make them smaller. I just want to make sure that we know that it's CJ who's saying this. And that's tricky. Also, in this zine journey, the grouping feature is going to be your best friend. Specifically, if you don't have that full story and you're still building and you're moving stuff around, you want to group, my friend. And I do want to have like the text. I said context. And you can also use the stories in the presentation. If I go back here, you can actually see the stories. So if you do want to like even use this concept and build your own little CJ and full character crew, you can use those stories, no problem. They are there for you to get inspired from. And if you do, I would love to see them and see like what's your takeaway with them. Let me go back to Illustrator. So we have, and having the context text, that is a mouthful to say, just helps the reader understand what is happening. You don't need to have it, but it's a nice to have. Also, I am absolutely in love with this font, so I'm going to use it as much as I can. Right there. And I want to do the same thing with that little shadow underneath. That looks good. Perfect. Make sure you save. So what's page 4? They're captivated by the designer's use of color and shapes. Cups, I'm brewing up some fresh ideas. Oh no, this is page 3. I skipped. They tuned into Adobe Live where creatives work their magic. Well, would you agree that this is magic right now? Jay, these zesty insights are really motivating me. So let's work with this. So Jay is the tall juice box. I keep saying jukebox because I have a friend whose partner does jukebox repair, and I think that he has the best job in the world. When you go into his basement, it's just full of jukebox, and it's like you went back in time. It's a very cool experience. So I guess I'm thinking about Tyler today. Okay, so I'm gonna go get Jay here, who is excited about watching Adobe Live. Put that. Oh, Heather, yeah, love the word zesty. I did try to have a few puns for this one specifically. Moo actually at some point says dairylicious, and I mean, I do love a good corny joke sometimes, not always, but sometimes. So I want to have, this is what I like to. Now that we have the bubbles, we can easily just copy. In my mind, J is grape juice because of the purple on its side. But please let me know what flavors actually do you associate with our little characters here. Okay, I want to do this like that. There you go. So sometimes you need to make creative decisions for this. So here to me, I usually don't like centered text, but in the bubble to me, it looks a little weird. So I'm going to make an exception and have centered text for this, but I'm going to keep the left alignment for the context text of what the characters are doing. And again, I want to center this. So I'm going to do the vertical because again, we're looking at it from a 90-degree view. So there you go. This is still big because it's actually going over. And another decision too is I want to make sure that all of the characters are always at the front no matter what. To bring cohesiveness, just going to group that. At the front of the bubble. There is one time that I actually didn't follow my own rule, and maybe we'll have the time to look at it today, and I'll tell you why. So I wanted to create some drama. So let's bring this at the front like this. I'm not helping myself. The text that I have put in is huge. So I always need to go in and out of my view like so, but that's okay. I'm used to it. Oh, thank you, Kristen. Kristen is saying, I love how this is looking. Me too. When you don't have a lot of text, sometimes it's hard to make it look good on, is it 2 lines or 3 lines? So this is something that you need to play with. But a rule of thumb is I usually try to match like the line width. So it's not like super long and then I think you call that a widow. Like if it's one word on one line, that drives me crazy. You really don't want that. So this here again, oh, this is a little bit of, I need to think about it. There you go. So I want this to be at the same alignment from the top, but again, it's left alignment because we're looking at it differently. Okay. So this is looking good. I think having gray bubble is not working for me. So I'm just going to change the inside color for that. So let's, yeah, this is already looking better. Let's save. And then we can do the other side quickly. So to flip it around, we were at minus 90 degrees. So I'm just going, I just removed the minus and automatically brought me on the other side. And I usually lock my background because it just allows me to grab and group better. I'm going to do this because I know where I'm going. Making it a bit lighter. And I feel like we need to have like a punch in here because all of the colors are light, but then it's good to have a good saturated color just to keep the readers on their toes. Not that this is a big read, but it's good to have the element of surprise. And I forgot to do a little shadow underneath here. There you go. Okay. So this now is completely upside down. So I'm gonna, oops, turn this. And I'm actually just going to copy it in the proper, I don't know that the proper font. I don't know why I didn't do that earlier. There you go. So now we're at page 4. So they are captivated by the designer's use of color and shape. And then Cups is saying, I'm brewing up some fresh ideas. Perfect. So see, this is why you want to group it, not to group, but lock the background. Just going to copy this, turn it around. And again, because I knew that I was going to lay out this story, I did prepare a mini computer asset to bring in. So here we go. Again, just changing the line weight. Actually, this at the top might not be the best idea. I want to do a bottom bubble because we have a lot of choices here. But again, for cohesiveness, it's good to keep with one style of bubble unless you want your character to think or something like that. But again, this is a creative decision that I have made for this specific brand of characters and zine if you want. But hey, there is no rules to zine. So that's the beauty of it. You can do whatever you want, whatever your creative heart wants. And that was mega cheesy, but I'm okay with it. I'm owning it. So if I want to, just going to reflect exactly like that. I'm so sorry. Actually going to flip it again. So there's all like small decisions like this that you need to think about. And I'm going to do it like that. There you go. I'm trying to go quick because there's still a little bit that I want to cover, but if we don't have time, I have the final zine ready to go to show you. Sorry about that. So here, even though it's not centered, I'm actually okay with it because it's like Cups is like hiding the bubble. So again, creative decision. And you want to create balance in your design. This is like the principles, I guess, like of composition. Actually, Cups is too close to the line here, so I want to make him a little smaller, like that. And having it in the right font right away actually helps a lot. So in the document that I have shared, there's 3 different stories, as I mentioned. The first one is just to set the tone as if it was like Tomb 1. It's introducing CJ, who is always lacking creativity and looking for creativity. Then we're doing the second one where the full group is seeking creativity on Adobe Live by watching. And the third one is they all go to Adobe Max and they are like, they have like a blast and they get a lot of ideas. So I'm curious to know, for people who are in the chat here, have you been to Adobe Max or have you watched online, and was there any takeaways from the conference? I would love to hear your feedback. Oh, we're at the cheesy and dairy pun right now with Moo. And again, I see Moo as being super sassy. Like, we have created a cool pattern for Moo earlier here. Like, if ever, like, you know, she really wants to show like her true colors, or maybe she's chocolate milk, who knows, like sometimes. So because of that, I see Moo as having a lot of intense expressions. So I'm having fun with Moo. So for the, ooh, this is delicious. I wanted to really like showcase the ooh with the mouth. So I draw this, and because she is like just, you know, so inspired and loving what she's seeing, like she has like little stars like in her eyes. Heather, I love Moo. I love Moo as well. Moo is definitely a vibe. So that's another, like, the reason why I'm adjusting the stroke is because I just want to make sure that everything is almost the same everywhere. Like here, like the stars are like, they're too small, so having the same stroke won't work. So I'm going to make it a tad smaller. But it was an intention that I kept the stroke like this and I did not expand it. So then I have some flexibility with the stroke whenever I'm upscaling my characters or making them super small. Okay, we're getting close to the end and I have a lot to show you. So I'm just going to finish this one quickly and I'm going to show you everything else so you can do this at home and print it yourself or print it for the, like, send it to the printer. Oh, see, like this is a good example. I was using my arrow keys, but again, I'm in 90 degrees here, so it was not the best use of my arrow keys. It was going in different directions. So this is again like something that you need to get acquainted to with this view. Oh, so AS is saying, I had a great time attending Adobe Max virtually. I ended up learning a ton about Adobe Express and how it can be a great asset to illustrating. Absolutely. Actually, the last episode of this series will be in Adobe Express, and we will be creating content as if this was a real zine launch, as if you're promoting this book, if you want. So it just to raise awareness about like the project. So yes, we will be working in Adobe Express very soon, and that's super cool that you learned so much. This is why Adobe Max exists. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back to 0 here. So this is what we have done today. And here we would have a poster. So if we look at the layers here, so if you wanted to print it at home, what I would recommend, if you don't have a color printer and you want to have this in black and white, you can easily go to the recolor. If you go to edit, generative recolor, and just do, well, everything is selected, black and white. If I can type it. And sometimes in the preview, you do see color. that's okay. But you can, oh, see, I had some stuff that was locked. So I'm gonna do it again. Just select everything, recolor. It remembers, so that's cool, what I have typed before. So you can select that. I guess it was still. Let's pretend that it was not locked and it has recolored everything. So basically you would have this. So this is going to use less ink at home. Specifically, if you do want to try it. Now, you do want to make sure that your score line are at the top so you can still see them. It would be the same if you were printing at the printer. You want to make sure that they're on top. And usually what I would add in the naming convention is in big, do not print. And essentially, you would have a conversation with your printer ahead of time of exactly what you are trying to do. And even in the presentation here, I have a little mock-up on how to fold the zine. I'm gonna talk about it more in a minute, but I basically sent this to the printer to explain the project of what I wanted to do, and they fully understood it. So you want to do that, and then here you do have to cut here in the middle. So if you were to send it to the printer, I would add another line. Just unlock it, and I would make it another color. Just making sure. I would make it red, or just like a flamboyant color. And on the layer panel, I would say cut line. And again, do not print. And I would send the PDF format, and I would preserve, if I would do this here, if I do save as, I would print it as a PDF, save it as a PDF for the printer. Save. And then I would preserve the illustration editing, so then they still have access to all of the layers. But if let's say it's not checked and you forget, just make sure that this here is at the latest so they can access all of the layers easily. Now, if you do want to print it at home, I'd say make sure that this delete me page guide is off. And I'm going to go and open another one. So essentially you would have this. So this is another design. This is the first story. You want to make sure that you still have these. It's still going to show, but they are so faint whenever you print that it's totally okay. So what you want to do after you print it is you want to remove the border. So because whenever you print at home, it's going to center the artwork into the middle of the page, and there's no bleed going on as if you were going to a real printer. So you need to cut that around and then fold everything. And you can fold in half again until you have 8 pieces. Then you fold it in half on the landscape. So it would be, if I use this, when you have it like this and you would have it like that, then you would cut here with scissors. So then when you do bring it back like that, you flip it in half, and then you can do like this. You push it, and then you can fold it like that. I actually made, if you're planning on using an X-Acto, I actually made a reel today that you can see exactly what I mean. And even though I'm using a cutting mat and an X-Acto, you can also do this with scissors easily. Okay, let's say you don't want to do a full zine and you just want to test it out. Oh yeah, first of all, have fun with your zine, right? Like bring it on an adventure. Like I went to New York, went to Toronto, and brought CJ with me everywhere. So I'm actually offering you all of the zine stories that are already laid out. So you can either download any of them and print it in color or in black and white and practice your fold at home. That way, whenever you're doing yours, you know exactly what to do. And you can also go back and re-download like the templates without anything, and then put in your own design. And this is like what they look like all folded. I have them here. Now we have 1 minute for the draw. So the word of the day will be 90 degrees, just because we have worked in that like weird view. So everyone who wants to win a zine, just say 90 degrees in the chat and you have the chance to win. And if ever I name your name, make sure to contact me on Instagram, so that way I will send you everything. So in the document, you can also see the Creative DeZine schedule. Our next episode is on November 7th, and we will be doing some swag, some stickers and mock-ups. You can also see Behance with the project. These are my Instagrams. This is the finish line. And okay, 90 degrees. All right. So I'm seeing Josie. Josie, please contact me. You are the winner for today's like sticker and zine and big holographic zine. So make sure that you send me a message into any of my Instagram and we will get that sorted. Until next time, everyone, it was a blast to be here today. Bye.